All right. Hey, good morning, friends. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Welcome to another daily Bible study, weekday Bible study. I'm so happy that you're part of this. Sorry I couldn't do this the last couple of days. We've been traveling a little bit. We are trying to buy a new house, and we're moving to Jefferson City, Missouri here soon. So you'll see in a couple weeks we're going to take some time off from this, but for now we're still at it. We're here. If you notice behind me, the wall of guitar shame, there's a lot less on it now than there typically is, and that's because tonight, if you live in Wilmington, we are having at First Christian Church, we're having a night of worship outside under the trees outside in the beautiful evening breeze. So come out and join us there if you're local with us, and just enjoy that, and it's going to be a great time. So I'm excited for that. I am drinking some delicious Black Bear coffee this morning. Once again, wonderful gift. Thank you, gift givers. It's like the gift of life is what it is. Like salvation and coffee, they're similar. They bring different kinds of life, but life indeed. That's good. I love the slurping too, right? You can hear that, I'm sure, through the microphone. Okay. Now, we are going to open up Judges chapter 18, and we're going to have a little bit more insight into the daily life of people during the period of the Judges, it's just nuts. It's nuts, but it looks a lot like today, so, it's nuts in a today way. Let's look at it. Judges 18, I'm going to begin reading at verse Number 1. In those days, there was no king in Israel. It keeps reminding us, right? That there's no king, there's no king, there's no king. And in those days, the tribe of the people of Dan was seeking for itself an inheritance to dwell in. For until then, no inheritance among the tribes of Israel had fallen to them. In other words, they had not overtaken the people in the land that they should have been in. So the people of Dan sent 5 able men from the whole number of their tribe, from Zorah and from Eshtaol, to spy on the land and to explore it. And they said to them, "Go and explore the land." And they came to the hill country of Ephraim, to the house of Micah, and lodged there. Micah came back into the story. Now remember who Micah is, right? We talked about him on Monday. Micah is a guy who stole money from his mom, stole about 1,100 pieces of silver, I think, 11 or 1,200, can't remember for certain, but stole pieces of silver from his mom. And she decided she cursed the silver, right, publicly, which made him feel guilty. He gave the money back, and his mom decided to bless the silver, to offer it to the Lord. But what she really made a false god out of it, 200 pieces of silver, and gave that 200 pieces and the other 900 to her son. He then used that money to build an ephod, right, and to build his own church, his own religion, and then found a Levite priest who happened to have no parish, and said, "I'll pay you to be the priest of my parish," and then thought that he was being advantageous for himself. That's the story, right? So that's that Micah, right? That Micah is building his own church for his own gain. That's the voice of the young Levite. They'd heard that voice somewhere before, and they turned aside and they said to him, "Who brought you here? What are you doing in this place? What is your business here?" Right? Because Levites should have been in their own place. They shouldn't have been in this area. "What are you doing in this place? What is your business here?" And he said to them, "This is how Micah dealt with me," in verse 4. "He has hired me, and I have become his priest." And they said to him, "Inquire of God, please, that we may know whether the journey on which we are setting will succeed." And the priest said to them, "Go in peace. The journey on which you go is under the eye of the Lord." So they see the priests are like, "Would you find out from God if what we're doing is going to be successful or not?" Not if it's his will. They really don't care about that. They just want to know if it's going to be successful. Verse 7. Then the 5 men departed, and they came to Laish, and they saw the people who were there, how they lived in security after the manner of the Sidonians, quiet and unsuspecting, lacking nothing that is in the earth, and possessing wealth, and how they were far from the Sidonians and had no dealings with anyone. And when they came to their brothers at Zorah and Eshtaol, their brothers said to them, what do you report? And they said, Arise, let us go up against them, for we have seen the land, and behold, it is very good. And will you do nothing? Do not be slow to go and enter in and possess the land. And as soon as you go, you will come to an unsuspecting people. The land is spacious, for God has given it into your hands, a place where there is no lack of anything that is in the earth. Okay, now here's what's interesting, right? What's interesting is that this land, I can't remember which tribe it is. This land, though, belongs to another tribe. And because Dan is too cowardice to face the peoples who are living in their land, their portion, right? They're too cowardice to go up against them and to take their land from them, even though God said it is their land, right? Instead, they're entering into the land that was given to another tribe, with whom that tribe was living peaceably, and that's okay. And they're going to destroy this group of people who are living there and take over this land for themselves, right? That's what's happening. So 600 men of the tribe of Dan, armed with weapons of war, set out from Zorah and Eshtaol and went up and encamped at Kiriath Jearim in Judah. And on this account, that place is called Manadan to this day. Behold, it is west of Kiriath Jearim. And they passed on from there. And they passed on from there to the hill country of Ephraim and came to the house of Micah. Then 5 men who had gone to scout the country of Laish said to their brothers, Do you know that in these houses are an ephod, household gods, a carved image? Just a second here. An ephod. Do you know that in these houses there are an ephod, household gods, a carved image and metal image? Now, therefore, consider what you will do. So they get to the house, right? And they turn aside there, and they came to the house of the young Levite at the home of Micah, and they asked him about his welfare. Now the 600 men of the Danites, armed with their weapons of war, stood by the entrance of the gate, and the 5 men who had gone to scout the land went up, entered, and took the carved image, the ephod, the household gods, and the metal image, while the priests stood by the entrance of the gate with the 600 men and the weapons of war. And when these went into Micah's house and took the carved image, the ephod, the household gods, and the metal image, the priest said to them, What are you doing? And they said to him, Keep quiet. Put your hand on your mouth, and come with us, and be to us as a father and a priest. Is it better for you to be priest to the house of one man, or to be priest to a tribe and clan in Israel? And the priest's heart was glad, and he took the ephod and the household gods and the carved image, and they went along with the people. So here, what you see here, okay, is they're stealing all of Micah's stuff. They're stealing his gods. They're stealing his priest. They're stealing his ephod, right? Like they're stealing all of these things. They're taking them with them. Now, here's something that's interesting, an interesting takeaway from even this piece. Actually, let's read some more. We're going to read some more, and then we'll get there. And the priest's heart was glad, and he took the ephod and the household gods and the carved image, and he went along with the people. So they turned and departed, putting the little ones and the livestock and the goods in front of them. And when they had gone, a distance from the home of Micah, the men who were in the houses near Micah's house were called out, and they overtook the people of Dan. And they shouted to the people of Dan, who turned around and said to Micah, What's the matter with you, that you come with such a company? And he said, You take my gods that I made and a priest, and go away, and what have I left? And then do you ask me, What is the matter with you? And the people of Dan said to him, Do not let your voice be heard among us, lest angry fellows fall upon you, and you lose your life with the lives of your household. Then the people of Dan went their way, and when Micah saw that they were too strong for him, he turned and went back to his home. But the people of Dan took what Micah had made, and the priests who belonged to him, and they came to Laish, and the people, quiet and unsuspecting, and struck him with the edge of the sword, and burned the city with fire, and there was no deliverer, because it was far from Sidon. They had no dealings with anyone. It was in the valley that belongs to Beth Rehob, and they rebuilt the city and lived in it. They named the city Dan, after the name of Dan, their ancestor, who was born to Israel. But the name of the city was Laish at first. And the people of Dan set up the carved image for themselves, and Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Moses, and his sons were priests to the tribe of the Danites until the day of the captivity of the land. So they set up Micah's carved image that he had made as long as the house of God was at Shiloh. Now, here's what's interesting, okay? A couple interesting takeaways from this passage. Number one, you can see that there is no godliness here. Like, all this is godlessness. They are stealing. They are stealing from Micah in this instance. They are stealing their land. They are not doing at all. They are not doing at all what they should be doing. And so it was just very interesting, right, to see what they're doing there. And so they're stealing all these things. Like, there's no godliness happening here. The priest that Micah has for himself, he's a priest who can be bought, right? He's a priest who was bought last time we talked about him, because he was bought to be a priest over Micah's parish, right? Over the gods that Micah had created. And now he's being bought by the Danites, right? He sees this opportunity. Now I'm not a priest to a person's temple. Now I'm a priest to a people's temple. Like, that's a huge thing, right? And so I'm increasing my capacity there. And then they have these gods, right? And this is maybe the most ironic and funniest part of this whole thing. They've made for themselves these gods. And what's interesting about these gods is that they can be swooped up and stolen. They can be swooped up and stolen in their hands. Like, what's funny to me about these gods is they are something that can be picked up. If they truly were a god, right? If they truly had that kind of authority, that kind of power, if they truly were something like that, then how in the world would they be able to be picked up? Right? God's kind of making fun of them here. He's kind of making fun of them, but we can see that there is no godliness at all happening here. All of this is happening outside of the will and the desire of the one true God. That's it for today. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you have a question, you can leave it in the comments. If you like this channel, you can subscribe to it. Of course, you can click the bell icon to receive notifications when we go live. And if you'd share this with somebody who you think would find it helpful, I would appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye.